Islands have always held a certain mystique. They are worlds apart, separated from continents by vast stretches of water. This isolation has shaped the life that inhabits them. Just as human communities on islands often develop unique traditions, the animals on these islands evolve differently from their mainland counterparts. The pace of life, it seems, moves to a different beat on islands. This difference is not just an observation, it's a matter of survival. Resources on islands are often limited. Animals must adapt to thrive in these environments. One of the most remarkable adaptations is a slower pace of life. This translates to slower metabolic rates and longer lifespans. Evolution works in fascinating ways on islands. The limited resources and unique pressures of island life lead to distinct evolutionary paths. One striking example is the phenomenon of island dwarfism. Large mainland animals often evolve into smaller versions on islands. This is likely an adaptation to the limited food supply. Conversely, some animals exhibit island gigantism. Species that are small on the mainland may evolve to be much larger on islands. This can be attributed to a lack of predators or competition for resources. The Komodo dragon is a prime example of this phenomenon. These adaptations highlight the power of isolation in shaping life on islands. Dr. Roberto Rozzi, a renowned ecologist, has dedicated his career to understanding the unique adaptations of island animals. His research focuses on metabolic rates, the rate at which animals burn energy. Dr. Rozzi's work has revealed that animals on islands tend to have slower metabolic rates compared to their mainland counterparts. This slower metabolism is intrinsically linked to the limited resources available on islands. Animals with slower metabolic rates require less food and can survive longer periods without it. This adaptation is particularly beneficial in stable environments where resources are predictable. Section 4. A world out of balance. For centuries, the slow pace of island life has been a successful strategy for survival. However, the world is changing at an unprecedented rate. Human activities are disrupting the delicate balance of island ecosystems. The adaptations that once ensured the survival of island animals are now putting them at risk. Invasive species, habitat destruction, and climate change are just a few of the threats facing island ecosystems. These changes are happening too rapidly for island animals to adapt. Their slow reproductive rates and specialized diets make them particularly vulnerable. Section 5. A race against time. Conserving island biodiversity requires a different approach than on the mainland. Conservation strategies must take into account the unique physiological and ecological characteristics of island animals. This includes protecting their habitats, controlling invasive species, and mitigating the impacts of climate change. Time is of the essence. Many island species are critically endangered. The loss of even a single species can have cascading effects on the entire ecosystem. We must act now to protect these fragile and irreplaceable parts of our natural heritage. Section 6. Islands at the brink. The future of island life hangs in the balance. The slow pace of life that once defined these isolated worlds is now a liability in the face of rapid global change. Yet there is still hope. By understanding the unique challenges facing island ecosystems, we can develop effective conservation strategies. This requires a collaborative effort. Scientists, policymakers, local communities, and individuals all have a role to play in protecting these vulnerable ecosystems. The time to act is now. The fate of island life, and indeed the health of our planet, depends on it, so like and follow Science Rise On, whilst you pick up a coconut and take a big sip, you island boys.